Okay, this works. I don't need board, you bring it here. Whiteboard, which I'm going to blacken now. Little more for. Little more. Little more. They can't see. This side. Oh, they can't see, perhaps. Come, bring it here. Here. Okay. Well, turn it around down the line. Supposing you took a bribe of B and it carried a penalty D with it. That's called D for deficit. Now, you have to make up your mind that if I take this bribe, will I be caught and I'll have to then pay a fine or some, I'll have to suffer something. So I call that as D. And suppose the probability of being caught is P. Probability of being caught is P. So the probability of not being caught is 1 minus P. So therefore, my expected value from a corrupt act is B times 1 minus P plus D into P. Suppose I say the cost of being caught is some lambda times B. Some huge amount, I mean 5 times, 6 times, whatever, times B. This is the penalty that you're going to pay. Then this works out to be B is B 1 minus P plus lambda B P. And so B outside, this will come B outside 1 plus lambda times P. Is that right? Yeah. 1 plus lambda P. This, if it is negative, it's 1 minus 1 minus lambda. 1 minus lambda. And therefore, if this to be negative, it will mean that P minus then P should be less than equal to lambda P, right? P lambda P. Yeah, P should be less than lambda P. Now there's some thing. This is lambda.
B into 1 minus lambda P plus B. Plus B.
1 minus P.
Loud. Plus lambda B. I think you should go there.
All right, say what you want to say. All right. 1 minus P plus lambda. That's correct. Must be less than 0, right? And that means P must be greater than. That is, I take 1 plus lambda, and P takes that side.
1 plus lambda base.
1 over 1 plus lambda?
1 minus
No.
lambda minus.
Be too far away, too long away from my teaching. Too much in politics. This is 1 minus P plus 1 plus lambda P. This is okay. Less than equal to 0. Therefore, this is 1 Alright. So P should be greater than 1 minus lambda. 1 upon 1. Should be greater or less than? Greater. Yeah, okay. So P should be greater than 1 over 1 minus lambda. Okay, now if lambda is 1, then P should be at least infinity, that's out of the question. So you can see, I'm still not happy with this, something...
The first equation actually d equal to 1 minus d minus dt should be.
Correct. Yes, thank you. You're from Harvard. Correct. Now it's okay. Now I got it. So now it is P should be greater than 1 plus 1 over lambda. Right? Now it's clear? Alright, that means if lambda is 99, then 1 plus 99, 100. So if lambda is 99 times the bribe, then all you need of being caught is 0.01. Alright, so if lambda is 199, then it is 1 by 200. That is even smaller. So larger is the lambda, the larger is the fine on getting caught. The higher is the more likely is that the expected value will be negative. So if P is greater than that, then expected value is less than 0. And therefore it is rational not to be corrupt. And that's the method the Americans adopt. They catch you, then you're had it. Happened to Rajat Gupta. What did he do? He called up the stockbroker and said, I've just come out of the board meeting of the Goldman Sachs and we have decided to dump the following stocks. That fellow went straight and sold those stocks and made a killing. Not that kind of major crime that they should send him to jail for 3 years. And he's now come out and they say you have to stay in your house for some more time. And he's ruined his reputation. Large numbers of people wrote to the judge saying that this man has done tremendous work for. Manmohan Singh wrote saying he's built a beautiful institute in Hyderabad, all that. So the judge in his order says, I have got such laudatory letters and I am convinced that if a man so highly regarded and won the confidence of so many people would do something like this, then he all the more deserves to be punished. Okay. So now you understand why when I get after somebody I never let go. Because if I can send Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi to jail, Chidambaram to jail, who else? Jayalalitha to jail. A Raja is just target practice. I am happy to report that when I was fighting to send Miss Sonia Gandhi and her son to jail on this National Herald, just a brief example of how money laundering takes place. I'll give you National Herald background also. Am I running out of time? No, I got 15 minutes. The National Herald is simply this: 3 institutions. Congress Party, the Associated Journals Private Limited, a commercial company which published the National Herald, closed down, now closed down because they can't pay a debt of 90 crore rupees, owed to, they say, to the Congress Party. The Congress Party accepts it's also owed to them. and a third private limited company under Section 25 of the Companies Act called Young Indian. Now, of course, the new act is Section 8. Now, the board of directors of the Young Indian, this new company, is Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Motilal Vora, Oscar Fernandez, Suman Dubey, Petroda. These 6 people, of which 76% is owned by mother and son in equal proportion. So, and then 12% Motilal Vora, 12% this Oscar Fernandez, and the other 2 0, but they are directors. So, this company makes a proposal to the Congress party by sending Motilal Vora, director, to speak to the treasurer of Congress party. Now, who's the treasurer? Motilal Vora. So Motilal Vora talks to Motilal Vora and says, please convince the chairman of the board of directors of AJL that they can't pay this 90 crores. So we will give you 50 lakh rupees. That Young Indian will give Congress party 50 lakh rupees, and you assign this debt to us, because you're going to get 0. They're not going to pay. They're not in a position to pay. Of course they were in a position to pay. They got 2,000 crores worth of property, and you can have a winding up petition and get these things distributed to shareholders also. But they say they are not going to pay. So you convince them, you assign this loan to us, and get the acceptance of this from the chairman of the board of AJL. So Motilal Vora, treasurer, Congress party, agrees and goes to meet the chairman of the board of directors of AJL, that is Associated Journals Limited, to convince him. And who is the chairman? Motilal Vora. So Motilal Vora, treasurer, goes to talk to the chairman of the board, Motilal Vora, and convince him. And he's convinced. Simplest form of government. So now the loan is assigned to Young Indian. Now Young Indian then goes, Motilal Vora goes to Motilal Vora and says, you can't pay this debt to us. We have lost 50 lakhs in the process, we're giving it to Congress party. So therefore we make a proposal. You issue 9 crore new shares at 10 rupees per share. That's 90 crores. That's the debt. Now 10 rupees was the price when the company was formed in 1937. It was 10 rupees. No new share valuation. And Motilal Vora agrees with Motilal Vora that he will issue 9 crores. They call a special extraordinary general body meeting in which out of 761 shareholders, only 7 attend. No proxies, and they pass a resolution that these shares, 9 crore shares, will be transferred to Young Indian for extinguishing the debt of 90 crores. Now this is a clear criminal misappropriation, breach of trust. You have betrayed the trust of the shareholders. You have betrayed the trust of the Congress party, people who gave money to the Congress party to run a political party. In the court, I was asked, who are you? No Congress party member has objected. Of course, if any Congress party member had been objected, he would have been dead the next day. But I still have a right, because the Supreme Court has said, even private organizations like the BCCI, Board of Cricket Control of India, registered under the Societies Act, even that is subject to the court judicial review because of the fact that BCCI performs a public function of arranging cricket matches for the vast millions of Indians, for which cricket pitches is given by the government of India, security is provided by government of India, and therefore it is of public interest to see that it functions properly. Applying the same principle, Congress party gets government bungalows, it gets free time on television, Gets income tax exemption for running a political party. You know, Section 13A of the law. So, therefore, I can question, how did you betray the trust of the Congress party worker? And to the AJL, how did you betray the trust of your shareholders? And tell the young Indian, you have criminally misappropriated. And so prima facie case was accepted. They went to the High Court, they lost there. They went to the Supreme Court, they lost there. Now their only satisfaction is they have prevented me from getting the documents from the government. Now why you would be afraid of documents, you know that. I also told them, I'm not asking for your personal income tax returns or your love letters that you have been writing. I'm asking the company law affairs to give me all the documents of these documents I'll get anyway. And this is an open shut case. They are definitely going to jail. In the meantime, Mr. Chidambaram is entangled in hair cell maxis. His son is entangled in money laundering in Singapore. All these, and so the race is who's going to go first. Look at the impact on the country, which has been saying that people can never be caught. That will completely change. And that's one way of discouraging. Then the expected value becomes negative. Because people feel such big things can happen to big people, then it has a good effect. Now I have two more things to say in the remaining 7 minutes. What is the way to bring back that 120 lakh crores from abroad to India? They are in 70 countries which maintain secret banking. There are 4 ways. Way number 1, you do the way that the Americans have done, which is they found out that 5,627 Americans had bank accounts in Credit Suisse and Union Bank of Switzerland. So the Department of Treasury and the FBI went visiting the branch office of the Union Bank of Switzerland and Credit Suisse and said, we know that you got American citizens' secret accounts. Please give us the detail. Now, the bank chiefs said, we can't do that because it's very important for secrecy. And if the word gets around that we gave it to you, no one will do business with us, so we can't do. So the Treasury Department asked these officials, are you made up your mind you will not give? They said, yes, we can't give. So they went back. That evening, the FBI arrested all the office bearers of these 2 banks and put them with criminals. 2 days later, the government of Switzerland said, here is the list, please take it. We also have Union Bank of Switzerland and Credit Suisse branches in Bombay. We can do the same thing. Second method. German Chancellor, what is her name? Yeah, that. She called her officials and said, I have intelligence information that German citizens, officials, civil servants have accounts in Liechtenstein Bank. It's a neighboring country, small country. So please arrange an appointment with me and the king of Liechtenstein. So appointment was arranged, and she told the king that German citizens have illegally maintained accounts in your country and you have to give us the details. He declined. He said, my country's economy is dependent on this banking and I cannot destroy it. So she came back from Liechtenstein, called her officials and said, find out the senior most official of the Liechtenstein Bank. Give me his ID, everything. So they gave her the name of the senior most official of that bank. And then she told her team, go to Liechtenstein quietly and tell this officer that if he gave the accounts of all the German citizens, then we will give him a citizenship of the United States. We'll do plastic surgery on his face to change his shape. And 3, we'll give him $500 million, $500 million as bribe. And was mighty impressed. And he agreed, but he said, I have only one problem. I can't give you only German, I'll give you all the foreign citizens who have accounts. So he tried to put in a CD, gave it to the Germans. The Germans then downloaded it and found 24 countries, including Germany, had officials, politicians, and all having secret bank accounts. So they separated it by those 24 countries, took out the German thing. And to these 23 countries, the German Chancellor wrote to each of the head of the government to say, I have got your citizens' secret bank account. Do you want the details? Of these 23 countries, 22 immediately replied, please, we are sending a senior official, give us the names. One country refused to reply. And that was India. So we had to go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court had to order. And the list has come, now in a sealed envelope, still not opened yet. But there will be very important names in that. So this is second method. The French did the same thing with the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank in Geneva. And it worked by bribery. Alright, we are very experts in bribery, so I think we also try it. But if you don't like this, then there's a third method, which is as effective, which is according to the United Nations Convention on Corruption. They have said that illegally kept money, that is in numbered accounts abroad without telling your government, they are in 90 countries. And if any country wants the money and the identity of its citizens who are holding accounts in these countries, they should pass a law. That law should say that all accounts of Indian citizens, for example, in the case of India, abroad in these 90 countries are hereby nationalized. And the United Nations will then ensure that these 90 countries give you the money in the bank plus the identity of the bank holder, the person on whose name the bank account is. For that we need to pass. Let us, instead of passing it, issue an ordinance. And let's see who will dare to oppose that in the Rajya Sabha. Nobody would. They will all be so frightened. And in the duration of the 6 months you need to convert an ordinance into a law. This becomes an effective law and you can use that and get that money back. Many countries have done this. For instance, Mubarak's account, the Egyptians got. Gaddafi's account, the Libyans got. Marcos's accounts, the Filipinos got it. India can get it too. I've been saying pass an ordinance, but Mr. Jaitley says no, this is not the proper procedure. So, if you want black money to come to India, then somebody from some ministry must go. Then only it can be done. Because there is so much resistance. Now, I think this is the third method. So, there are methods to do it. It can be done. How long? 2 months. There is also a mutual assistance agreement between us and Switzerland. If I can know the account of somebody, then I can write to the Swiss authorities under this act, and the Switzerland will give you the entire details under Mutual Assistance Pact. And that pact is very old. It's I think 1972. Am I right? Something like that. He's the expert in black money. I mean, he doesn't have it. He was part of a committee and all that. They produced a magnificent report, but it was not implemented, right? Anyway, the issue is this, that this country can do it and go. I have given already bank accounts of Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi to the government of India. They are still not approaching the the Swiss authorities. But I can tell you they will approach. Because I've seen in the National Herald, the Prime Minister intervened to see that nobody of any authority will fix anything in favor of anybody. But I would have to see. So when the PM feels a little stronger or a little surer, I think this will be done. This has to be done because we've made a promise, and if we don't keep this promise, we are going to get help, particularly from the middle class, which has been a solid support for us. So this is it. Finally, I would say that ultimately you can't have a honest society unless you adopt what I call as the traditional Sanatan Dharma value, which is money is not everything. The social status of a person in society has nothing to do with how much wealth he has. That was our value. When I first went to Harvard as a student, my classmates asked me, these Americans, how can you be followers of Mahatma Gandhi? I asked this to my American friend, why? He said the man doesn't wear decent clothes. You know, all that Mahatma Gandhi has a loincloth. He was half naked. He was called, in fact, the half naked for killed by Winston Churchill. But we venerated him. But that's our society. These sadhu sannyasis whom we respect and lakhs of people go, how simply they are dressed. But see the American politician, how well dressed he is. If he is badly dressed, he will not get any votes. Nixon forgot to shave once in a debate and he lost the debate because he didn't shave. And similarly, the spiritual leaders, see the Pope, he's in satin gown, diamond necklace, ruby necklace, and his cap is full of jewels. But our sadhus is just bhagwa kapda and nothing else. And if you are a sadhu who travels abroad, then you have it in white. That's the difference between a bhagwa wearing sadhu. Of course, Ramdev broke that also. All traditions need to be broken anyway. But the fact of the matter is how simply they are dressed and what is their following. That's our society. The highest position in society was given to those who had what they in Sanskrit we call as Gyan and Tyag. That is knowledge and sacrifice. And that was the highest thing. Gandhi could sit in Birla's house, nobody suspected him. He could travel to the round table conference on Birla's money, nobody suspected him. Because his transparent lifestyle. And otherwise what happens is, if material progress is the only thing that motivates you, then greed is bound to come. And if greed comes, corruption is inevitable. And no materialist society seems to be happy. So many of these Americans who are very rich, they have turned up in our ashrams here to seek happiness. Even that Hollywood actress Julia Roberts became a Hindu because she said, I have never been happy and I learned how to be happy in an ashram in India, therefore I have become a Hindu, and she declared it. You can see this in Google. So this balancing of material progress with spiritual values, where you don't think that money is an end in itself. That psychology, that culture has to come. Then we'll be without police powers, without government things, without going to the United Nations. We will be an honest society. We were. If you read the accounts of the Buddhist monks who came to India, they said the most important thing about India is not its economic development, but the honesty of its citizens. This is what Hossein says, Yuan Chong says. In fact, Vasco da Gama said so. So many people who visited in those days said this is a very honest society because of this spiritual value that you don't hanker after wealth. Wealth is not an index of your social status. Rajat Gupta's problem was just this. He had told his family, I want to have the maximum number of zeros after one for my wealth, so to be the richest Indian abroad. Well, he couldn't do it because he fell foul of the law.